Shionagad. Hello everyone, my name is Tyra Maney. I'm a citizen of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, and on my mother's side, I'm Dene, more commonly known as Navajo. I work at the Museum of the Cherokee People as the designer, and we're located on the Qualla boundary in Cherokee, North Carolina. Our museum was founded in 1948, making it one of the oldest tribal museums in the United States. In October of 2023, we celebrated our 75th anniversary by adopting an inclusive new name and contemporary rebrand. I started working at the museum 11 years ago when I was 16. It started out as a summer job and a way for me to make money. The longer I worked here, the more I connected with our history and our culture. The last renovation our museum had seen was in 1998 when we remodeled our permanent exhibition. For our local community, the museum was a place you went to on school field trips and never went back unless you had visitors in town. We were almost exclusively a tourist destination. For about 8 years, my various roles at the museum were public facing. Day after day, I had to constantly educate our visitors that we were still here. Our visitors had no idea Cherokee people were still alive because our exhibit portrayed us as relics of the past. We had over 100 years of history that wasn't being told, and there was no bridge between our past and our present. This is a common problem that many Native communities and Indigenous people still face. We're mostly found in natural history exhibitions, and papyrus, earth tones, and ancient artifacts were how many non-Natives learned about us. For so many years, we've had our story told for us instead of having the opportunity to represent ourselves. I worked at the museum while I went through high school and in college. And I took one intro to design course, and I liked the concept of graphic design, but I mainly saw it as a hobby or potentially a side business. I never imagined making a career out of it. That was until for one of our class assignments, we were tasked with creating a cause poster. We had to find a cause that we were really moved or inspired by, then create a poster based on the subject. And that was when everything immediately clicked for me. Although my initial passions weren't about Indigenous representation, being Indigenous, specifically being Cherokee, influences a lot of my art. And I wish I had a copy to show you all, but for my poster, I wanted to focus on the decline of the Cherokee language. Our language is extremely endangered, with most of our fluent and first language speakers being over the age of 60. The decline in our language was due to multiple generations of Cherokee children being forced to attend U.S. boarding schools. In these places, they were forbidden from speaking Cherokee. After this project, I knew I wanted to go to school for design with the goal of creating not only representation of Cherokee people, but contemporary representation. That project taught me that our identity didn't have to only focus on our trauma or on our history. It was just the stepping stone of what Indigenous representation could look like. In May of 2021, we welcomed Shayna Bushyhead Condell as our new executive director at the Museum of the Cherokee People. Shayna is also a citizen of the EBCI, and she had over 20 years of museum experience when she started. Although we are a very small nonprofit/tribal museum, Shayna also saw the importance of self-representation. Under her leadership, we shifted our focus to becoming a museum that serves our tribal community first, while also welcoming visitors to join us on our new journey. Our first step to involving our community was by hosting listening sessions. We hosted over 15 different listening sessions. The criteria was based on their residency, jobs, and age ranges. The most common feedback we received during these sessions was that our community didn't feel that this museum belonged to them. They felt that it was just a tourist attraction and had no connection to who we are today. Prior to our name change, we were the Museum of the Cherokee Indian. Our second most common concern was our name. I personally have never referred to myself as an Indian, and after these sessions, it was abundantly clear that our community also didn't refer to themselves as Indians.
Oh, I liked that everyone wanted to incorporate, like we really wanted to put Southeastern designs and language into the museum and put that back in there. Um, And like even the building designs that we came up with were based on our iconography, which is really cool. And then just all the considerations of native anything, Cherokee anything. That was really cool.
The museum exists, someone's walking in, Cherokee person stepping in this museum for the first time. What would you hope their experience would be like?
I hope that they're impressed. I hope that they feel welcome, and I hope that they feel like a lot of people talked about ownership with this and feeling like it is theirs and theirs to be proud of too.
So the museum exhibition redesign, it's really exciting to me because it's an opportunity to reclaim something that we didn't really have full ownership over. And there's also a way for members and even non-members to have a sense of pride when they go through this exhibition. You know, it's been there since 1998, and I'm sure in 1998 it was state of the art, but in 20 plus years, a lot has changed. And the discussions that we were having in the committee they're enlightening, they're inspiring, and you get voices from here, you get voices from there. And I just think that's a really beautiful thing. I actually wish people could have seen the discussions that we're having, because I think it was a real slice of life that people don't always get to see. The redesign is incorporating, so far, the discussions that we were having. It's all about the culture. It's community first, which is really a breath of fresh air. We want to make sure that the language is put at the top, above the English. Descriptions of objects and art, and I think that that's really important. There's also just we're talking about things that are difficult to talk about. How do we address this? How do we address that? How do we make it so that the community and the members have a sense of ownership in a place where they can feel safe and also learn about their culture?
Contemporary artists now, having them represented, I think the redesign is going to be great for not only the local community, but anyone passing through that is also Cherokee. Be excited. Be excited about the changes that are coming, because with the people that were in that room, artists, filmmakers, screenplay writers, community builders, it's activists. I've shed many tears with those people in that room, and I've hugged them, and I feel like they're closer as family now. And that's what you should feel in that museum.
For the EBCI, we have a group of Cherokee fluent elders that make up our Speakers Council. Since the Cherokee language is endangered, we rely on the work of the Speakers Council to translate not only words, but phrases in a correct way. When meeting with the Speakers Council, we asked what a word or phrase we would use when referring to our tribe. In the translation, they used the word people to describe us, especially since in our language we have no concept of Indians. The English name, in short, became Museum of the Cherokee People. Cherokee translation became Zalagi Idiyan Wiahi Ikatseli Uweti Ishkwanigo Doti. Zalagi means Cherokee, and that was just used as a way to, when you're reading the translation, you know specifically who you're talking about. Idiyan Wiahi means the principal people, which is a phrase that we would commonly use when referring to ourselves. Igadzeli means it belongs to all of us. And Uweti Eshkwanigo Doti is the word that we use for museum, which means where the old or interesting things are kept. Once the talk of our name change started happening, I had some rough drafts of what a new logo could potentially be. We then met with a branding agency who took my rough draft and applied their skill set, and unfortunately they had missed the mark. Prior to our second draft, we had a meeting to explain in depth what we were hoping to get from this rebrand, and we showed examples of institutions that had bright, vibrant color palettes, and we explained our need to have a contemporary identity. After roughly 3 drafts, they were still portraying our institution in dull earth tones and visuals that were hard for us to connect to. I believe the major reason why we are having such a difficult time seeing eye to eye is because they were non-native and they're also not from the Southeast. It was hard for them to appreciate and understand our rich culture and our beautiful homelands without any prior knowledge of who we are and never experiencing these mountains that we come from. This was in January of 2023, and I had been in my designer role for almost 2 months. After the third meeting, Shayna saw the importance of having the branding come from our perspective. She then assigned me the role of creating our new rebrand. This agency helped walk me through what a rebrand entails and what that looks like. So, roughly over the next 8 months, I created our new brand. It was daunting and it was honestly one of the scariest things that I've ever done, but it was also one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done. And it's a project that I know I'll be proud of for the rest of my life. After the rough draft of a potential logo, I never had any idea it would come to fruition. We created a hard deadline of August 1st to have the rebrand completed with enough time to remodel our website, redo business cards, brochures, order new merchandise, all these things before we went public in October. I had no prior branding experience and I was now a one-person branding team. It took me a couple days for reality to set in because I was now responsible for creating a rebrand that not only represented our 30 staff members at the museum, but all Cherokee people. There are 3 federally recognized Cherokee tribes. I'm part of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, which are located on the Kola boundary in North Carolina. And there's also the Cherokee Nation and the United Gadula Band. Both are located in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Although the other 2 tribes are now located in Oklahoma, all Cherokee stories start here in these mountains. So this museum is as much theirs as it is ours for our EBCI community. I needed a starting point, and all of a sudden, this draft of a logo was giving me no inspiration. So I decided to listen. I paid attention to what other staff members were saying in meetings, general conversation, and how they described us to people who had no idea who we were or what our story was. I also started listening more intently at local community events. I would try to start casual conversation at these places to see where my community's sense of pride comes from. I wanted to know the things that they resonated with and the things that they didn't. I also re-listened to the audio from our listening sessions, and I paid close attention to not only the differences, but the similarities of how Cherokee people described themselves and how Cherokee people in Oklahoma described themselves. I saw common themes like incorporating more Cherokee language. A lot of people had the love and admiration for our homelands. And the biggest theme I saw was Cherokee people just being innovative. There are so many Cherokee people finding new and creating ways to contemporarily represent us while they're also honoring who we have always been. And I also took inspiration from other Cherokee artists that use bright, vibrant colors in their art. Now I was finally able to start on our rebrand. It is important to us to always use Cherokee first and English second. Visually, I struggled a lot with including our syllabary in the logo. It can be confusing and compete with a serif typeface since a lot of the characters look like the English alphabet. I ultimately chose Garamond as our brand typeface because it's timeless and it also helps give our institution a more elevated look. It also had a lot of similar characteristics to the Cherokee syllabary to prevent them from competing with each other within the logo. The Cherokee syllabary is first when you're reading the logo from right to left and then up and down, and it wraps around the water spider that we use. The water spider has always been part of our logo, And I wanted to create a more contemporary look for the spider while also still having cultural significance. For the color palette, I wanted to challenge people to rethink what earth tones can be. Smoky blue is our primary color, and it's based on the blue hue that can be seen within the Great Smoky Mountains. This is to honor the mountains that we have always called home. Rhododendron is one of the secondary colors that is used for our brand, and it's based on the rhododendron flowers that grow here. The branches from this plant were used to make our utensils for thousands of years. The yellow we use is based on touch-me-not flowers, which have always been adored and used by our people for generations. The green comes from evergreen trees, which help keep our mountains beautiful year-round. The black is a slight off black, and it's based on blackberries. This color honors our women and the plants that they have used for thousands of years. Our white is an off-white that comes from the color of the flowers found on locust trees. The wood from these trees have been used to create so many items that we've used in our day-to-day life, because not only is it a strong wood, but it's very flexible and durable. The flowers carry locust seeds that will eventually turn into more locust trees. This ensures their survival, and this also reflects our mission to preserve and perpetuate the history, stories, and culture of the Cherokee people. The water spider has always been important within our culture, and in our creation story, the water spider is the one who brought fire to our people. Because of this, the Cherokee people have also been known as the fire people. We have always honored her by including her within our logo. The original logo design was an exact replica of a shell carving from the Mississippian period. This period took place 500 to 1,000 years ago, and my people have always been artists, and what that art looks like varies with each generation. The Mississippian period was the height of Cherokee culture prior to European contact. Almost all of our utilitarian items were adorned with various designs that were either decorational or had significant meaning. The designs from this period have lasted for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and they still influence our culture today. For the feelers on the water spider, I found inspiration from a Cherokee bandolier bag. I used 7 peaks on each leg, and 7 is a sacred number within our culture because it represents our 7 clans, and this is a small way I chose to honor them. And bandolier bags were always used to represent status and keep important items within close reach. This represents what our museum stands for with this new direction that we've taken. And the design on the abdomen is divided into 3 sections, which represent the 3 worlds. The lower world is underwater, where fish, amphibians, and other aquatic life can be found. The middle world is where humans and the 4-legged animals come from. And then the upper world is also known as our sky world, where the birds come from. We cannot live without any of the worlds, and this represents our balance within our surroundings. The center of the water spider is typically seen as like an X or a plus sign, and it represents the fire that she carried on her back. The fire is the center of our culture, and it brings us life. For the logo, I based it off of a pottery design, and it shows that X in motion to represent how our culture continuously adapts and evolves. With staying consistent to serving our community, we debuted our name change and our rebrand to our local community at the 111th Cherokee Indian Fair. We announced it publicly through our social media, our website, and various news outlets on October 9th, Indigenous Peoples Day. Then we've made big strides to make sure our community feels represented at the museum. One of the ways that we've accomplished that is by using locals when we need models and replacing the tourist models. It's important that our community can see themselves when they see various ephemera for our museum. We have also collaborated with local and other Indigenous designers to create one-of-a-kind exclusive pieces that we can carry within our museum store. John Henry Gloyn is EBCI, and he was one of the first artists that we collaborated with, and this was prior to our rebrand. He collaborated with us to create a museum-exclusive blanket design that was made by the company 8th Generation. They're a native-owned lifestyle brand, and they're based in Seattle, Washington. We gave no guidelines to John Henry and let him have full artistic freedom. The designs he used were based on Mississippian pottery, and he titled his blanket Earth and Beauty. He said, quote, "This is my interpretation on the beauty and practical use of the Cherokee pottery, literally made from the earth of our ancestral homelands," end quote. Other artists we have collaborated with have included Kevin Tafoya. He's EBCI in Santa Clara Pueblo. Zay Cooper is also EBCI. Buffalo Town Clothing Company are EBCI owned and operated by Luke and Tabitha Swimmer. With all of these artists, we've given them creative freedom or very broad themes, like having to use our branding colors or sticking to a holiday theme. And each artist has been so easy to work with, and we've always been blown away by the ways that they create tricky representation within their artwork. If you are wanting to collaborate or hire a native artist, please use native-land.ca. It will help you find whose original land you're on, and it'll give you websites and resources to contact those nations individually. I hope this talk has been helpful and informative for you all, and I hope you all see the importance of hiring native designers or collaborating with native artists, because no one knows their story better than they do.